I'm fascinated by the idea of censorship, as many people have said a lot of times. Censorship is, it looks like it is outside us, but it is always inside us. And, it is about the discomfort we feel about the world, and we want to impose that on the world when we have that power.
What I really love is that responsibility of the art then no longer is just with the artist, it's with the audience as well. And how we are perceiving is coming from how we think in general, what we've lived through. Usually I jump right in, but I've realized now we're in the third month of our season here at G5 that everyone needs a second after a film ends. Um, but I'll do it anyway and I'll get started. That I gave you a second. But Varun, thank you so much for being here. Um, I have been a huge fan since school, but this film especially, I really loved as a, especially as a film theory nerd. It kind of hit the right spots. But I wanted to start with the most basic question: what inspired Kiss? And
Yeah. Okay, I already laughed because it's a bizarre piece of news that inspired the film. So there was a news around that James Bond film, Skyfall, I think, with Daniel Craig, and there was a kissing scene. I think it came out in 2016 or 17, I forgot, but roughly pre-COVID sometime. And the censor board, Indian censor board at that time, I think Pehlaj Nilani, most probably, I think it was him, uh, or Pehlaj Nilani, think like kind of someone else, but I think it was him only. And they ordered this James Bond film to cut down the kissing scene from 22 seconds to 12 seconds. And I read this piece of news and I was I was blown away. I was like, I mean, you're telling James Bond to, you know, to reduce his actual, part of, because James Bond, as they say, he rarely kisses because he loves someone. He kisses because he wants to get some secrets out. And so it will basically, they were playing with the plot of the film, or the emotional plot of the film. But anyway, it was just bizarre. And then I put that in my stand-up comedy. I was performing comedy at that time. I still do, but I used to also. It's a Mitch Hedberg joke. But so there was so I made a stand-up bit on that news, which was basically how will censor board decide what is the right duration for the kiss. So basically they put 20 men in the room and show the scene, and they see at what second they involuntarily ejaculate, these men. And so they say, okay, reduce 1 second from that, so that they want to protect the nation, the kids of the nation. So that was the joke. And then I was done with the joke, and I was like, okay, what to do with this idea further, because I'm fascinated by the idea of censorship, as many people have said a lot of times. Censorship is, it looks like it is outside us, but it is always inside us. And it is about the discomfort we feel about the world, and we want to impose that on the world when we have that power. And so it was during COVID, when I was locked down in my that small room, when I got COVID. And I wanted to do something useful with that time of 10 days completely locked away, and not even able to see my cats. At that time we didn't know if cats catch COVID. We later found out they don't. So they could have been there, but yeah. But so I wanted to write something in those 10-15 days. So I went back to so I have a notebook where I just put down my ideas for any future use. And I thought, okay, this is a lovely idea. At least in stand up, it works. So let's see how it works in a short film. And I didn't want to make it funny like in stand up. I thought, okay, let's go deeper and figure out the origin of censorship. And so then I wrote that whatever 10-page script during COVID in 2020, and then in 21 we got together a team and started filming. So we finished the film in 2021, and then yeah, after that it just had a festival run in 22.
Um, yeah, we so lovingly call them the censor board when all they need to do is certify films, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You talked about your team, and it's always a pleasure to see Swanand Krigre on
yeah.
the screen, but also brilliant performances from Adarsh Gaurav and Subrajyoti
Subrajyoti, yeah.
Bharat. But also, you have a team that had what some one may call this indie sweethearts, which is Nitin Baid and Sylvester Fonseca.
Yeah.
So, what is it like for you? You've been working for so long, but then to bring this team together with people whose relationship with you extends beyond projects.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was it like to put this together for Kiss, your first
Yeah, first
directorial?
film.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so it was, I mean, it was, I was really lucky that, these people, all these, top of the line, cutting edge technicians and people who love, who love, as you said, indie cinema. They all came together because I think they just, they just liked the script. I would like to believe that. And also, I think, yeah, we had a very good working and friendly relationship before that because I worked with Sylvester and Nitin since Masan, and then Sylvester was there in Sacred Games. So there were people, and Anurag Kashyap, who just read the script, and I was being very hesitant speaking to Sylvester because I really wanted to work with him, but I didn't know if I should approach a cinematographer of that caliber and someone who was also very very busy at that time. But Anurag read the script and he immediately sent it to Sylvester, and he said, okay, you read it and see if you have time and meet Varun. And Sylvester read it and immediately he got on board. Same for Nitin. Of course, I didn't have to go through Anurag. Nitin I knew personally, but again, yeah. So there was this then. Kazveen, who did the production design, again, Kazveen was there on Sacred Games. So there was this old associations I had, and they really shielded me as a first time director. I really did not know what they were. I was completely clueless. I've been a writer all my life till then, and I I've been on film sets, but I've been on films, say on Masan and Sacred Games. I was there during the shoot, but I didn't know what happens before the shoot. I didn't know the pre-production cycle, and there's a color palette they discuss. And when we went for the location hunting, and Kazveen and Sylvester were discussing the color palette, and I didn't even know that something you discuss here right now at the location, which is probably eventually we didn't even have that location, but they were like, okay, this is very muddy, so we'll use this lens and all. And I tried to act as if I knew what they were speaking, but they also quickly figured out that I don't know why I'm nodding like this. And then they said, Kazveen said, okay, I'll take care of it. I'll make a deck and I'll share it with you, and then you can choose what kind of color palette. But it was mostly them choosing. I was just, saying, yeah, it's good. So, so it just worked out because I had these really, complete people who knew what they were doing, and they knew that I don't know what I am doing, so they covered that part. So that was lovely.
And where was the
So
location?
this is Liberty Cinema.
Okay.
Initially, we wanted to do more rundown cinema. That was the original idea. But because of COVID, two of the rundown cinemas we scouted. One was Aurora Talkies in Matunga. So we went there. We really loved it. But then on first recce we went there. We really liked it. Second recce we went there. By that time, one of the false ceilings had come down. So they said, okay, like it is really unsafe, and if you still want to go ahead, you'll have to repair the whole thing. Like for an indie film, that would have been the entire budget of the film, and why would we repair Aurora talkies? So they were like, no, if you want to repair, you can go ahead and all. So then another was Maratha Mandir again, really we liked. And one of the key things we wanted was the access to the projector room, the actual, and with the actual film projector, which actually reduced the choices to a very small number of cinemas. uh, all the big multiplexes, they don't have the film projector now, they have the new DCP projector. So the film projector, a working film projector with someone who will give us access also. So Liberty was one, which again came to us like just 5 days before the shoot. Maratha Mandir fell out and this guy came in. So it was just a very last minute thing, but we were lucky to get Liberty Cinema.
And the reason I asked about where, because the theater in Kiss acts as the place where time bends.
Yeah.
And the character's perception of the time is a kind of a reflection of their prejudices, but also it's spatially um, relevant in terms of kind of as a spectator when I go to a film hall, my perception of time it's very very space oriented as well. And what was wonderful is it's a temporal questioning of a temporal medium. But I wanted to ask about this awareness of the spectator when you were writing, and how much of that time difference that they were experiencing was their own biases. So when it comes to that censoring, it's almost as if we could also be doing it while we're sitting in the audience over there. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So for me, the film was about two or three things. One was obviously the top layer is about the idea of censorship and where it comes from. But also for me, it was very important to show our relationship with cinema as an art form, and then that relationship in a space like a theater, which is a black box, and you almost feel like you are there alone connecting to these people. So that was also a very key part, because that's how I fell in love with cinema, through watching films on big screen, not on TV. We didn't have TV for quite late in my childhood. But we would always go, because my father is really, he loves cinema, he loves big screen. So we were probably the only family in Dehradun who would go every week to watch a film, no matter what, even if it was a film like Tridev, which is very away from my father's idea of what good cinema is. But we went to see Tridev twice, because second week again nothing else was playing. So we it was such a big hit that two theaters. So Dehradun had two theaters right opposite each other, Prabhat and I forgot the other one, but they were like the two good theaters where family audience could go. And both of them, first week it was, one was playing Tridev, next week both of them were playing Tridev, so we again went to see Tridev. But all the films, Ashiki, Maine Pyar Kiya, and then there was this, now it's a thing that films are coming back, old films. But I think in the 80s and 90s it was a thing that, when nothing else was there, because we were not making these many films, so they would play some old Raj Kapoor film, they would play Guru Dutt films, they would play old Amitabh Bachchan films. So we would just go and see whatever was there. Sometimes it was Diwar, I saw on big screen, Mera Naam Joker, lots of Raj Kapoor films, and even Devanand films. So we were like always going there. So for me, that connection is very important to the idea of cinema, that cinema is not just why it's the greatest form of magic, I feel, is first of all, it takes all the elements of different art forms. It has music, painting, costume design, acting, all the art forms you can think of, the technicality also, the image making. So there is that, but then there is another element, which is the dreamlike state it puts you in, which is what magic is supposed to do. And cinema evolved from magic. The first filmmakers were magicians who just wanted to wow people. Like they were just creating images and shadow play and the initial zyro zyrotope, it's called zynotope, no, huh? So those things they just wanted.
Zoetrope, sorry. Yeah,
Zoetrope,
there we go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, so many of these initial, yeah. So they want you to how magic works is basically they tell you it is magic. You know they are not cutting, this lady into two parts, and it's a trick. And still, the whole idea of success of magic believes in your depends on your belief in it, how much you buy it, and how much you then you are blown away by it. So that's what cinema is. So for me, that dreamscape which happens inside a black box with just you, and there are like 500 people around you, not for indie films but generally like for big 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 tentpole films, and still you feel like you are alone. You feel like you are Amitabh Bachchan or whoever is there on screen, Ranveer Singh, and you want to be that person. So it's that kind of I think that relationship I wanted to explore, though 15 minutes or too less to explore all these ideas, but still I wanted to do that. And the third thing is how cinema sometimes is the only place where we feel emotions, a lot of us. I mean, it is true for me to a large extent. It is true for a lot of people who actually work in films, because we are so kind of storytelling becomes the only way you can, I don't know, feel things by metaphor and not by the real reality of it. So that was also one layer I wanted to explore, the viewer and you know artwork relationship. So it all, I think, came
And
through.
what I really love is that responsibility of the art then no longer is just with the artist, it's with the audience as well. And how we are perceiving is coming from how we think in general, what we've lived through. So I really love that क्यों का जवाब कोई artist कैसे दे सकता है, because that's we sometimes get stuck in the responsibility only lying with the artist and not how we I don't want to say consume, but how we watch and how we look at art. um, Another thing I wanted to ask was, since we're talking about censorship, there is this shift from the institutional censorship to it's kind of permeated to the society, and does has that made it harder as an artist to kind of work? Do you find yourself having to think of working around that, or because it's not just say the censor board anymore, it's how the mindset is kind of pervasive almost.
Yeah,
And some people might think it's risky to talk about certain topics or say certain things, which of course we know you don't, but is that something you've had to navigate in any way?
yeah, all the time. Even there are, I mean, I sometimes just get scared because I thought something, and I'm like, अरे किस मतलब मैंने बोला तो नहीं है कहीं आसपास किसी ने सुन ना लिया हो मैंने ये बोल दिया इसके
Maybe your
बारे में.
phone heard you.
Yeah, phone of course is, yeah, that is there, but yeah, but generally, I mean, yes, censorship is right now very scary because it's, as you said, it's not now just one institution or one body of angry frustrated men trying to control us. It's like they have distributed the responsibility to the mob, and the mob is uh, like any bunch of, as chaos theory says, a bunch of random molecules. You don't know, it's like a stampede out there, so you don't know when it will just suddenly you'll get crushed, or you'll get how it is happening right now with a lot of critics online, where just saying that, doing their job, basically they're just saying how they read the film, and then it became a mob, and mob is now sending out rape threats,
Yeah.
death threats, everything. And it has a chilling effect, right? It has, even if you feel okay, it's a mob online, and I live in whatever gated community and they won't come to me, but it's still very, very stressful. So you're always thinking, and you're always trying to uh, so it have it has a uniform chilling effect on every artist. It's just that some deal with it in a different way. Some, like, for me, it's a challenge to be cleverer, to be uh, more polite in saying, things which may rile someone up. But there are artists who become angrier, then there are artists who become completely silent, or who uh, change lanes in a way that, okay, we won't now joke about this or write about this or tell these kind of stories. We'll just do safe stories, and those safe stories then become further safer, because someone says, oh, this is also kind of unsafe. Then you kind of keep pushing yourself into a corner, and sometimes you try to enjoy that corner, which we are seeing a lot of artists do. They are happy in that small corner, and getting all the other things which are also part of a byproduct of success. uh, but I don't know, end of the day, are they really happy being that person? I don't know. But yeah, for me, the way is to to not leave the ground and stay there. And even if I say, okay, oh, right now I'm not even writing a story, why are you like sitting on my back? मैं तो मूंगफली भून रहा हूँ और खाऊंगा थोड़ी देर में, आप खाएंगे साथ में तो आ जाइए, बट अभी कोई काम नहीं हो रहा है मेरा ऐसा कि आप मेरे सिर पे बैठे. So there is that way of, I think, dealing. But yeah, I'm not going to take my cart away. I'm there with my Mumfali. Yes.
And you have multiple condiments also with it, where you are a writer, stand up, now film. What is there an art form where you feel the most freedom then? Uh, is
Yeah.
there a particular one where you feel, okay, here I can maybe not be as fearful, but here I have to be?
Uh, yeah. I mean, there is one part of my whatever creative, I don't know what, buffet, that I write for children. So I write short stories for children. I write poetry, graphic novels. So that's where I feel the most joy, because I'm already trying to connect to a part of me which is generally not explored in this commercial space where we are in this city. And so it's completely free from any idea of ये कोई सुनेगा, ये चलेगा, इसको कोई fund करेगा. Writing a story, getting it published, the cheapest, quickest way to work on your creativity. You don't have to go to like someone asking for even like 50 rupees. You just write it, and one editor kind of does some back and forth. So that is one. Second, I love comedy, because that's where I'm the most present, I feel. And I'm the most uh, uh, I don't know, fearless in a way. Even though comedy is really, really scary right now, there are people who are getting, I mean, yeah, there, Munawar Faruqi did go to jail for his jokes, which he didn't crack. Actually, they just thought he's going to crack that joke, and they were like, but पहले बोला था, आज भी बोल सकता है. उसने कहा, मैंने नहीं बोला पहले भी, और आज तो बिल्कुल नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, आप लोग आए यहाँ पे. But yeah, he was, yeah, that was really terrible. And then he had to, as I said in one stand-up comedy, yeah, he was in jail for 2 months, and then he had to spend 100 days with Kangna Ranaut on a reality show. So that I'm not mentally prepared for. The second part. First part, I, okay, whenever it happens, I'm ready, kind of ready. I have a plan what to do in jail. I'll work out, I'll read books, I'll whatever, eat protein in jail. I don't know what kind of protein they have, but yeah. But yeah, the second part I'm not. Yeah, So that's scary. So there are things which are scary, but then there are things which are also, if not exciting, challenging. And challenging is exciting for, I think, a lot of humans. So that I like. I mean, why do people do bungee? I don't know. That's like, that's just challenging, and that's why I think it is exciting. Or they have really low adrenaline, so, and they don't want to do medicines, drugs, so they're like, let's jump and see if this elastic holds. So yeah, anyway.
Thank you, Varun. I just want to share uh, an incident, or not really, that happened right outside. We had a screening last week as well, and G5A is always has this community of filmmakers showing up for screening. So it was the post screening conversation going around right outside the doors, and they said, "What are you showing next week?" And when I said Kiss, they all went, "Oh my God, do I have a story for you?" And they can't even say Kiss, they say lip lock, the CBFC people. So everyone has that story, I think, that they especially filmmakers have with the censor board. That I think this film is an instant connect for all of us.
Yeah, so what I'm going to try, I don't know if it will work, but I'm now going to submit this film. It has still not been submitted for CBFC.
Yeah.
So my plan is to submit it and make a documentary on that, like a short
Yes.
documentary on how it goes if I submit it and see what how they react. Of course, in that room, nothing is allowed. That room is like they take keep your phones also outside. But at least I'll memorize and come out and whatever, do a piece to the camera saying this is what they said. And if someone comes on record, that's amazing. That will be amazing. But yeah, I'll try to see what happens with this.
Yeah, we are looking forward to it. I
Yeah.
hope it happens.
Yeah.
I think that's a great time then to wrap
Thank
up.
you.
Thank you so much, Varun. Thank you for being a wonderful audience.
Yeah.
And yeah, have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I just wanted to thank, like I was not sure how many people will be there. I was like, because it took me so long to come from Warsaw to here, I was expecting, I didn't know कि कितने लोग आएंगे. I was like probably 10, 15. So it's not G5A. I mean, lovely venue, lovely food, but it's not the easiest to reach. Even from South Bombay, I know, because the whole thing is dug up. It's insane how it looks like we are entering a war zone as we cross the sea link. After that, it's insane. So thank you. I think, yeah, you all had to make some effort to reach here. So, and it's a film like we made some 3 years ago. So it's still like there are people wanting to watch it. Thank you. Really, really pleasure.
Thank you.